Man-made climate change is, according to most scientists, happening now. Leading climate experts also agree that nations have to drastically reduce emissions of greenhouse gases released from fossil fuels and need to stop cutting the forests that absorb carbon dioxide. But the world seems to be moving in the opposite direction. The challenge today is how countries can improve living standards without wrecking the planet. In Climate Challenge, we scour the world for promising schemes and new technologies, both global and local, that might make a difference.
Megacities, boomtowns. This is another face of India.
Last 10-15 years we have seen a rapid growth in Indian economy. One is also seeing a trend of urbanization. So the demand for all types of buildings are increasing. Still, India has huge shortage for even housing. One of the estimates is that by 2015 we will require 25 million new homes just for self-use. Similarly, organized retail requires huge commercial areas and then the road infrastructure, everything. So as an estimate, the construction sector is growing at a rate of 10%.
The brick industry, a traditional, informal and often forgotten sector, is at the core of this growth. Varanasi on the Ganges. The quality and the abundance of clay in the river plains has made this region brick country. This is where you find the majority of brick kilns in northern India. It looks a bit like late 18th, early 19th century Europe. For thousands of years, bricks were made manually in appalling conditions. At the dawn of the 21st century, little has changed here. Bricks are still made in heat and dust. Samir Mattel, one of the world's leading specialists on bricks, says in summer, when the temperature goes up to 50 degrees centigrade, it's impossible to stand here for more than 5 minutes, let alone work.
We are on a top of a bull trench kiln. This is the kiln which is mostly used in the entire South Asia, whether it is India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, and there are maybe more than 50,000 such kilns around. And this is how a traditional kiln on the top looks like. If you go there, you can feel the temperature. You can feel that where the fireman stands, the temperature is almost of the surface is 70-80 degrees centigrade. That is where he works. And generally, usually these type of kilns have 4 firemen. 2 of them work for 6-hour shift, then they get 6 hours break. They live here, so they cook their food. And then when it is time to sleep, this is their bed. So you can really see that the conditions at a kiln for firemen can be really very tough.
It's a tough job, but the firemen claim they're the undisputed masters of the craft. Arjun Mandal, who is a migrant from the Bihar province, has worked as a fireman for 8 years. Although he's proud of his skill, he says he'd quit tomorrow if he found something better.
Our job is such that we have to walk on a 12-foot high platform all the time. You never know which brick is loose and if you'll slip, although usually the bricks are well secured. But there's always a danger, and the pay doesn't match the kind of work we do. That's why I want to leave this job. You see, the owner tries to improve things. He's put in a thermometer. When it gets really hot, he likes us to stop firing, and then we can start again. After the thermometer was installed, we were reassured. Before that, we had to walk on the kiln continuously for 6 hours, regardless.
The industry is a world in itself. Some say the kiln owners operate like a mafia, but Mr. Badlani, an innovative kiln owner, has his own woes. The business is seasonal, and the workers, mostly migrants, have to be lured by advance payments.
The big problem with seasonal workers is that they never stick to one place. At most, only 20 to 25% of them come back the next season. Otherwise, about 75% of them are new every year. With the new workers, one has to build a new relationship. Some of them are very good, some are bad. But most of them have this tendency of disappearing without clearing the advance payment. If the contractors get them here, fine. But many, about 20% even, don't even turn up after taking the advance. 10 to 15% disappear from the kiln after joining, because some other kiln owner, in dire need of workers, would have lured them away.
Mr. Badlani admits that advance payments are tantamount to bonded labour, but he also laments the lack of laws to protect the kiln owners. His only option is to keep his workers happy with incentives: concrete houses, clean drinking water, a school for the children, carts and rickshaws for loading bricks, even clothes twice a year. And it seems to work. The environmental impact of the industry is even harsher than the drudgery. After China, India is the world's second largest producer of bricks. Each year, India produces 180 billion bricks, consumes 25 million tonnes of coal and emits 41 million tonnes of CO2. The carbon monoxide, the suspended particulate matter, the sulphur dioxide from the chimneys are a health hazard and harm the crops in the surrounding fields. The land prices have gone up and the kilns are now buying agricultural topsoil from the farmers to make the bricks, turning the countryside into barren wasteland.
Topsoil formation is a very slow process. It is a slow process which takes, I don't know whether thousands of years or millions of years. So in a sense, once you have taken that, that is lost almost forever. So that is becoming an area of concern more and more, because our demand for bricks is increasing at a very fast pace. And then we have these large cities developing. And on the periphery of large cities, we have all these brick kilns. Large cluster of 300 kilns can definitely degrade the entire area.
According to the UN Habitat, the trend of urbanization will continue, and by 2050, 900 million people, 55% of the Indian population, will live in cities. And the demand for bricks will keep growing. But the industry, which employs 10 million people and which has a turnover close to $10 billion is still overlooked in India and doesn't have a viable environmental policy to regulate it.
There is a huge amount of regulation, right, where the brick industry is supposed to transform and conform to new environmental changes which are being imposed. Usage of waste, cutting down on fuel usage, cutting down on pollution. However, when it comes to the implementation of these laws, I think there is many a slip between what is desired to be done and what actually is done. And this invariably gets mixed up with local requirements and local politics. We clearly have some of the bans which the government has professed to do still not being imposed. And I'm not too sure whether the government is walking the talk on this.